Onside.
Dolphins game, and it's an onside kick.
Welcome back to the Onside Kick Show. I'm your host, Zach Stein, here with
Gavin, Lemke. Welcome back. Happy Wednesday.
Let's see, do I got your mic on, Gav? Talk one more time.
Yeah, you got me.
Oh, okay, I didn't have you before, but we're
You
good.
got me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Yeah, we all good.
Welcome back. It's been a little bit. That's kind of my fault, kind of life's fault. But yeah, we're here. We're here nonetheless.
Yeah, been all over the place, man. It's been a wild couple of weeks. We're out here. We traveled through the rain today to make it to the studio, so good day to be alive, man.
Absolutely. Got to thank God for another day. Few shout-outs for today's episode because, yeah, there's a lot of football mock draft stuff going on, but there's also March Madness, now April Madness. So shout-out Caitlin Clark, the GOAT, and shout-out DJ Burns, also the GOAT, who maybe should try playing left tackle in the NFL.
Yeah, those got to be my two favorite players in college basketball right now. Caitlin Clark might even go to the NFL, too. I think the assistant coach, like in the postgame, she was like, Caitlin Clark is our Patrick Mahomes. Like the way she's throwing dimes out there.
I mean,
I
yeah.
like that comparison.
Yeah, I rock with it.
Caitlin Clark is moving up draft boards as we speak.
Detroit Pistons, next prospect.
Yeah.
Now, real talk, she would actually cook a lot of players in the NBA. Like, it's so fun to see her play, and it's good to be at the same school that she's at. So.
Yeah, embrace debate. I just kind of want to get your. Actually, no, we talked about this enough.
Yeah, if you guys ever have that one friend that's like, oh yeah, I could guard Caitlin Clark. Yeah, me and Gavin had to deal with that over the weekend.
Chances are he or she they cannot guard her.
They definitely cannot.
There's no chance they can guard her.
End of story. And yeah, DJ Burns, big man. Hope he gets to the championship round.
Yeah.
Would love to see him there.
A lot of people have been saying like put him at left tackle, bring him to the league. Has there ever been a left tackle that's like? I think DJ Burns is 6'10". Are there any 6'10" off it? Like I feel like that's almost too tall.
There's a 7-footer who was drafted by the Seahawks. His name is Stone Forsythe, who's 7 foot tall. Insane names, Stone Forsythe. Yeah, but shout out. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see.
It would be cool, but he's a good hooper, so I'd rather just watch him hoop.
Yeah, true. You never know. He could have a second career.
Yeah.
Julius Peppers was a hooper at one point.
Yeah, I think Dan Patrick asked DJ Burns, and he was like, nah, that's just the media. That's just talking heads like you and me bringing it up. So, yeah, whatever.
Well, there you go. Well, all right, enough about DJ Burns. Football news today, something crazy happened.
Yeah.
You want to take it away on this one?
Well, this was wild to wake up to. I don't know. Did you see this coming at all?
I mean, I think Stefon Diggs, yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, Stefon Diggs traded to the Texans in exchange for a 2025 second-round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that he was a little like unhappy in Buffalo, but I did not think he was going to get traded like out of nowhere.
Yeah. I think this is just the Texans taking advantage of a great opportunity, like seeing what Stroud did in year one. Yeah, why not push the limits, try to win a Super Bowl in Stroud's rookie contract, like go get a guy like Diggs. And I think it was a pretty even trade overall. Like they gave up a second-round pick. The Bills are kind of not really in like a rebuilding stage, but they're in a stage where like they got to rebuild the pieces around Josh Allen and the pieces around like Von Miller. Like those are only two guys that they really paid over the offseason, and then they're kind of cleaning house other than that. So I don't really hate the move, and I don't know. I think it's going to be scary, dude, with Joe Mixon, Stefon Diggs, and just you saw what Stroud did last year. Like they could make a deep playoff run, and imagine they beat the Bills in like the AFC Championship or something.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, if you're the Bills, you probably would prefer to trade him to the NFC, so you don't have to see him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What I love about this move, though, is for the Texans is they didn't even – I honestly don't feel like they needed Diggs to compete. Like, they built their team so well. They built the defense up, and with the offense, they had Nico Collins, who's like a budding superstar. I don't know. And Tank Dell had an insane year last year before getting hurt. So I think this just shows them that they're not messing around. Like, the Texans are not messing around. They're not going to settle for, okay, we have these cool pieces in place. Let's see how it happens. Like, we're going to go all in. They got Danielle Hunter. They got Stefon Diggs. I mean, they basically just did a 2-year rebuild, but they're ready to go now. And I think I would be very scared to see the Texans in the playoffs this year.
It's going to be dangerous. They've made some big moves this offseason. They got Danielle Hunter as well.
Yeah.
Right? So, just Pro Bowlers, building them around C.J. Stroud. It's looking dangerous. It is interesting that the Bills would do that in the conference.
Yeah.
I foresee a divisional round or conference championship round matchup between them two, and there's going to be some beef. It's going to be a good storyline.
Yeah. Well, a couple weeks ago, there was a rule change into the NFL, and the trade deadline actually got pushed back. So let's talk about that for a second. So this was something we talked about the show a few weeks ago, where the Browns had a proposal to push the trade deadline back because, so I believe, who's their GM? Is it Andrew Berry? Is that who their GM is?
That sounds right.
Yeah, but he was making a proposal to the NFL saying that most sports, their trade deadline is around 50 to 60% throughout the year. Like hockey is 60%, baseball is like 55%, NBA I think is also around 60%. So the NFL had it around 40%. It was after the Week 8 trade deadline, and we added another game as well, making it a 17-game season rather than a 16. And so with that, the trade deadline never moved. So now the NFL approved a proposal to push it back. So now it's going to be after Week 9 or the first Tuesday after Week 9 or November 5th.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this? Is there really a downside to this, or?
I don't really think there's a downside. I think it'll only help teams out in the long run. I think they're just moving to a very similar sort of format to like the NBA and the MLB, with those trade deadlines being like kind of in the back half of the season. Gives teams a little bit more time to kind of like figure out what they're working with and what they need, what kind of holes they need to fill. So yeah, I'm a fan of it. I think it'll probably get moved back even more in the next 5 years or something like that.
Yeah, especially if they add an 18th week, because I know there was some talk about that. And
I don't know if the players want that, though. There has to be some sort of trade-off. Like, there would have to be like a second bye week, right? Something like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. If they do add another one, then maybe you do a second bye week. That is a really good point.
Yeah, I don't think there's players that want another game.
I don't think so either. That's a lot of football, man. So, well, let's move on here. Cam Sutton was missing for a while. You want to talk about him for a little bit? That's kind of your Lions.
Yeah, so this was funny. He obviously it wasn't funny.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was like, it's a crazy way to start that.
It wasn't funny. A arrest warrant went out for Cam Sutton after he allegedly had committed acts of domestic abuse, apparently with his wife or girlfriend at the time. The president of the Detroit Lions, though, Rod Wood, he stated that he ran into Sutton like right when he heard that the warrant came out. He ran into Sutton at the Lions facility.
Jeez.
This is a quote from Rod Wood. He said, "We learned about the warrant at the same time everybody else did on social media. We were able to speak to Cam because he was actually in our building. He was down with our strength staff. He kind of showed up unexpectedly to work out." And then obviously the Lions released him March 21st after the news of the warrant surfaced. So I don't know, were the Detroit Lions harboring a fugitive? It's kind of what it sounds like. He's like, yeah, we heard the news. And I remember when the news came out, everyone was like, the police are looking for Cam Sutton. Rod Wood just told us he was in our facility. I don't know, man. It's a little bit nefarious from Lions staff.
That's quite the predicament. I didn't know any of that. I mean, one, that's terrible because, just what happened to her. That's horrible. And two, Cam Sutton going missing for a couple weeks, that was not good. But yeah, at least he turned himself in. The thing about the Lions harboring a fugitive, that's crazy. I don't even know. Like, that's wow. That brings a whole new perspective to this. I didn't hear that in any of the headlines or anything. That's That's pretty wild. But yeah, they got that resolved. In terms of his football talents, you got those resolved too when you trade for some more corners.
Yeah, it sucks though. We'll probably have to draft a defensive back in the first couple rounds. There's definitely a hole to fill there with Cam Sutton being gone, but I don't know, man.
Kind of did it to himself.
Yeah, he did it to himself, and he did the wrong thing. So justice will be served.
Indeed. So we have a really cool segment right now. What we're going to be doing right now, we are playing Guess the NFL Lineup by Colleges. Me and Gavin each created 3 lineups on offense with the no names, nothing, just positions and the picture of the college that this player went to. And we'll have to guess what year and what team this is. Mm-hmm. So you want to start off?
Sure. So I'm looking right now at the first graphic you got for me. Guess this NFL lineup by colleges. I'm looking at a USC quarterback, a running back from Texas, an LSU wide receiver, could be anybody, a left tackle from NC State, and a wide receiver from Temple. Off the bat, I can't name anybody from Temple at wide receiver, at least not off the top of my head.
That might be the tricky one. I figure you're either going to know that one but that's not the most important one. I'm going to let you cook.
Obviously, a USC quarterback, there's so many people that could be, like Matt Leinart. You got Sam Darnold. And this is either contemporary or this could be a team from the 2000s, 2010s.
It could be. I will say this is the first one, so I'll tell you it is recent, somewhat recent.
Okay.
I like how the first USC quarterback you said was Matt Leinart. Respect. But yeah. So this is recent.
Yeah. So Sam Darnold, I think that's really the only other active USC quarterback in the league right now that I could think of. Carson Palmer is not active.
Well, I said somewhat recent. So,
running back from Texas. Okay, so something I just put together was the quarterback and the left tackle. Sam Darnold recently signed with the Vikings, didn't he?
Yes, but I will say they've already played on this team together. So I didn't put together a lineup that is current.
Panthers because the left tackle would be Charles Cross. Is that the dude? Or no. Who was drafted last year at left tackle to play for the Panthers? I think it's a name I can't pronounce.
It is a name.
It is a name I can't pronounce.
If that's who.
And then the wide receiver out wide would be the LSU guy would be Terrace Marshall. The running back. Who would this running back be from Texas? On the Panthers, it's not Chuba Hubbard.
Is that your guess? Is it the Panthers? Because I'll tell you if you're right or wrong.
I'm going to guess the Panthers, but I want to know who the Texas running back is.
You're correct. This is the Panthers. This is the 2020, I want to say the 2021 Panthers. Let me pull up my notes here.
Awesome.
It is the 2022 Panthers. So you got Sam Darnold correct.
Yep.
The LSU wide receiver is Terrace Marshall.
Nice.
Left tackle is Ikem Okwonu.
Yep.
From NC State.
Beast, too.
The wide receiver from Temple, do you know who that is now that you know it's the Panthers?
It's not.
The wide receiver 3 for that team.
It's not Chenault. It's not I'm going to know it right when you say it.
Robbie Anderson, a.k.a. Roby Anderson, a.k.a. Chosen Anderson, a.k.a. Robbie Chosen. And then the Texas running back.
Dude, this one actually has me stumped. Why can't I think of a running back from Texas?
He was on the Bears last year.
Because you guys drafted the running back that you have from...
Right. We had another Texas running back on our team last year.
Khalil Herbert?
I'm going to give it to you. Ready?
Yeah.
Deontay Foreman.
Oh, my God.
Who was a Texas legend drafted by the Texans.
I did not know he went to Texas.
Yeah, he was really good, and just injuries kind of derailed his career. Obviously had a decent year with the Panthers and the Bears, but... you got the team right, so that's all that matters.
Yeah.
You know, even if you don't correctly identify everyone, you still got the team right. So.
I mean, that was a good one, dude. Panthers that's not really in my wheelhouse. So,
right,
so
Sam Darnold. I was hoping you didn't mention Mark Sanchez. I was hoping you would get tripped up by that for a USC quarterback. But
all right, so now do you want to rotate? You can go to my first one that I posted with the Oklahoma quarterback.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this one right now. So there's an Oklahoma quarterback. There's a Pitt running back. There is a Stanford wide receiver, SMU right tackle. Wide receiver from Wake Forest. Well, I mean, I think I know who this is, but I just want to say Wake Forest wide receiver A.T. Perry, shout out. That's the GOAT right there. A.T. Perry, Saints legend. But right away, I see Pitt running back, so I'm thinking James Conner. I see Oklahoma quarterback. I'm thinking Kyler Murray. Stanford wide receiver. Now that one is interesting.
It's real interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting.
Yeah. I'll say this team has no wide receiver depth at all.
Well, is it current? Like
it is current.
Lineup?
Yeah, this is the roster I expect to be, or the lineup I expect to be on the field week 1.
Okay. And right tackle, if this was the current Cardinals, then the current right tackle, I believe, is Jonah Williams, who went to Alabama. So I guess I'm not sure. I'm going to say this is the current Cardinals roster.
You would be correct.
Okay. So what? Who are the receivers? Let me see. Let me think. Stanford. Oh, did Michael Wilson go to Stanford?
Yep.
Okay. Michael Wilson. He's a stud. Wake Forest. I have no idea who this is.
This would be Greg Dortch.
Oh, Greg Dortch. Honestly, sneaky, underrated guy. Whenever all the receivers are hurt, he'll go in and put up 10 catches, 100 yards.
That's why, dude, I had no idea who to pick. I was looking through their roster, and I was like, the Cardinals have no wide receivers right now. Like, there's no one. I was filling it out, and I was like, I want a quarterback that's not easily guessable. Half the quarterbacks went to Oklahoma, so I put an Oklahoma quarterback, and then I was like, yeah, these wide receivers don't make any sense. It might stump you.
Yeah, I mean, it was really just the running back and the quarterback. I would not have known. Who's the right tackle?
The right tackle is Kelvin Beachum.
Oh, man. I didn't even know he was still in the league. That guy's like 84 years old.
Well, I was just trying to figure out who played more for him last year, who might play for him this year, and just kind of do a mix of the two. Try to get the current Cardinals lineup.
Makes sense.
But on to the next one. So I'm looking at Stanford QB, Florida running back. I'm looking at the right one.
So Stanford QB, Florida running back. You got an Alabama tight end. Wide receiver 2 is Michigan. And left tackle is Ole Miss.
So Michigan wide receiver, I want to say, Nico Collins, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Devin Funchess. Am I close? Am I close with any of those names?
You want to hit already?
An Alabama tight end, like O.J. Howard. He went to Bama. Man. I mean, we could start with the quarterback from Stanford. It's got to be Andrew Luck, right?
Is that your guess? Do you think this is a Colts team?
A Florida running back to go along with Andrew Luck would be...
And if you're stumped, I'll give you the year range.
Give me the year range.
All right. It is, once again, within the last, 3 years now. In the last 3 years.
So that can't be Andrew Luck. Who's a quarterback from Stanford that's in the NFL right now? And this guy started games.
He did. He started this whole season.
Really?
But it was really only one season for him.
Is this quarterback a young guy? Is he fresh out of Stanford, or is he
pretty young?
He's pretty young.
Mm-hmm. Start with the other positions because the quarterback will be the tricky one. That's why I put him on there.
A Bama tight end, dude. I mean, is the left tackle the blindside dude?
Michael Orr?
Yeah.
No.
You went to Ole Miss, right?
Yeah, I believe so. But there's another left tackle who went to Ole Miss.
Dude, I'm struggling.
Your hint for the left tackle is gas mask.
Gas mask? Okay. Would this be this wouldn't be the Dolphins, would it?
Is that your guess?
Did Achan didn't go to Florida, you went to A&M, right? Dude, who's a quarterback from Stanford?
Well, if you know the left tackle, do you know who the left tackle is?
I know who I know who it is. I just can't think of his name right now. I know who you're thinking of with the gas mask.
I'm gonna need a guess here.
All right, I'm gonna throw one out. I want to throw like a decent guess. This is a quarterback from Stanford. I'm lost. I'm going to go with the Colts.
It is not the Colts. I thought that when you had Nico Collins, you would have stuck with that, putting together the fact that Laramie Tunsil is also on the Texans. Because this is the Texans. This is the 2022 Texans.
Oh, is that the Davis Mills?
Yep.
Oh,
Davis Mills is the quarterback.
And then Damian Pierce.
Yep.
Oh,
and then the
man.
Bama tight end, you know what that was?
Was it, it's not Dalton Schultz.
You said him earlier.
O.J. Howard?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this one is really interesting because a lot of these guys were here for a year. O.J. Howard was only there for a year. Davis Mills really only played for a year. But yeah, this team is single-handedly responsible for the Bears getting their roster right now, thanks to Davis Mills, Hail Mary, and Lovie Smith. Shout out. But yeah,
that's a really good one. That one was tough to guess, and I don't even know like what other position you could have filled out that would have helped me out.
Yeah, I didn't want to give you Brandon Cooks for what is that, Oregon State or Oregon? Wide receiver.
Beats me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I figured this would be a tough one. But yeah, Laramie Tunsil, Ole Miss, left
Damian
tackle.
Pierce, I have to get that.
Yeah, Damian Pierce, running back. Davis Mills, quarterback. Nico
I'm ashamed.
Collins.
I'm ashamed of myself.
It's okay, man. We got another one after this. But for you, I'm going to go to your second one.
Okay.
All right. So, what is this quarterback? Is this UNI? What is
that
this?
logo?
Yeah.
That's Northern Iowa.
No, it is. Okay, so it's
Yeah.
UNI. We got a Pitt wide receiver, a Florida State wide receiver, Miami running back.
You got this.
And the running back, what school is that?
That's Miami. Oh, the Spider?
The second running back.
That's
yes.
the Richmond Spiders.
Oh, God. Richmond running back and a UNI quarterback.
Yep.
So this isn't Northern Illinois. This is Northern Iowa?
Northern Iowa, yeah.
Oh, my God. What?
I'm telling you, man, you stumped me. I got to get you back.
Dude, yeah. I mean, Pitt wide receiver, I'm thinking Larry Fitzgerald. Florida State, I don't know where Anquan Bolden went. Maybe he went to Florida State. And then running backs. Well, wait, so who was the quarterback then throwing to Larry Fitzgerald if it... Pitt.
Larry Fitzgerald probably had 100 quarterbacks in his career.
I was about to say, man, this is going to be tough. Richmond, I think I know. There is a Richmond running back that's in my head that I'm thinking. I just can't put my finger on it. Miami running back. Frank Gore went to Miami, I think. So let's see here. If this was Frank Gore, this was the Niners. Northern Iowa. Did Kaepernick go to Northern Iowa?
Colin Kaepernick?
Yeah.
Nah.
Okay.
He went to Nevada, I believe.
Nevada. Yeah, Nevada. I don't. You might have gotten me on this one. I'm trying to think. Can I get a time frame here?
I see your stump. This is from the 2005 to 2010.
Oh man. Okay, so I'm thinking this is Larry Fitzgerald. I don't know other Pitt receiver. Maybe I'm forgetting somebody, but I'm thinking Pitt. Oh my gosh. So Richmond running back.
It's
You
tough.
know what? Yeah, you might have stumped me here. I'm gonna just say this is the Cardinals, and I'm gonna say that the quarterback is like Drew Stanton or just some backup quarterback. And that's my guess. The Cardinals.
Final answer?
Yes.
Dude, I'm shocked you didn't get Kurt Warner.
Oh
Northern
my God!
Iowa, yeah.
Oh my God! I
Damn.
totally forgot about that.
That's a tough
Wait,
one. It's like you either know it or you don't.
So Kurt Warner. Okay, so this is the Cardinals though. So Kurt,
This is the Cardinals.
Oh
So
my
yeah,
God,
you
how
were
did I
correct.
forget Kurt Warner?
You were correct the whole time.
Oh my
and then
God.
you got Anquan Bolden out there on the right.
Yeah, he was Florida State. Okay.
You had Larry Fitz. You had Anquan Bolden.
Now the running backs is one of these. It's too early for. Is one of these Beanie Wells?
So there was 3 pretty solid running backs on this roster. Beanie Wells was one of those guys, but he went to Ohio State.
Okay.
So I did not throw him on this list, especially
Okay.
just statistically, he wasn't up there with these other 2 guys.
When I hear the Richmond guy, I'm going to be upset.
So you want me to just tell
Yes.
you? So the Richmond guy is Tim Hightower.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He
Just
scored
kidding.
like 12 touchdowns
Yeah.
for them that year.
Remember
And then
Tim
the running
Hightower.
back from Miami is Egrin James.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Probably
that was a
last
pretty
year of the
shocking.
career.
It was pretty shocking for me to find that out. I thought that was a good one just because Larry Fitz, it's
Yeah.
like Northern Iowa. You're looking at that like, what?
Yeah. I totally blanked on Kurt Warner, but that is a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I was surprised. Who was throwing to Larry Fitzgerald?
I just couldn't put that together.
Yeah, that was a team.
Part of it because I think of it the Rams for the most part.
True.
Greatest show on
Yeah,
turf.
I think they made it to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Got Larry Fitz on the cover of Madden
Yeah.
with Palomalu. So that was a pretty historic team.
I don't know ball, guys.
No,
That's
that
on
was
me.
good guesses,
That's
man.
on
You
me.
got the Anquan Bolden pick. That was solid.
All right, well, I'm curious to see if you can get this third one. So this third one I have for you, we got a Georgia Tech wide receiver. We got a Michigan left tackle, a center from Nebraska, UConn quarterback, and then I also gave you a second quarterback who was on the roster from UCF.
Quarterback?
Yeah, and then running back was also from UCF. So there's 2 quarterbacks here. The quarterback that started the most games was from UConn. The quarterback that started the second most games was from UCF.
Who is from UConn? Georgia Tech wide receivers. I know Calvin went to Georgia Tech, but is this the Lions? What quarterbacks? Stafford went to Georgia. Dude, this has to be the Lions.
Why do you say that?
Center from Nebraska, Dominic Raiola, legend. One of probably a top 5 center ever.
Wow.
One of the greatest centers of all time, Nebraska legend. Even though we're at Iowa, Nebraska legend.
Jeez.
His kid, I think, just committed to play quarterback there. He's like one of the top recruits. Dominic Raiola is a legend. Calvin Johnson, Georgia Tech. The QB, I want to say Dan Orlovsky went to UConn.
So is this your guess, the Lions?
Dude, who else could it be?
Can you give me a year on this?
This would predate Stafford because he's not on here. Like 2008.
This
Detroit
is
Lions?
the 2008 Detroit Lions 0-16.
So then can I guess the other? I don't know the
Yes.
UCF guys.
I wasn't sure if you knew this guy was on the team, but the quarterback too is Dante Culpepper.
Yep. Okay.
So
I was gonna guess either him or like Drew Stanton or
Yeah,
something.
I had no
Okay.
idea he was on that team until I looked up their roster. And
Yeah,
then the running
he got
back,
some reps. Yeah.
he did. I think he played 6 or 7 games. Dan Orlovsky played 7 or 8. Obviously,
And then
wide
his,
receivers Calvin Johnson.
Yeah, Calvin Johnson is the running back. Kevin Smith.
It is.
Kevin Smith.
Yep.
Man.
Had
Remembers Kevin
970
Smith? Nobody
yards.
remembers Kevin Smith, man.
He actually had his best career year on that 0-16 team. And then the left tackle. You know the left tackle?
Michigan guy. Yeah, nah.
Dan Backus. Or wait, Jeff Backus? No. Jeff Backus.
Well, he went
I don't know who Dan
0-16,
Backus is.
so
Yeah. Well,
damn.
it's funny you got the center because I put 6 on here. I was almost going to just give you the 5, and then I was like, this center has been on that team for like 12 years.
Dominic
Maybe you'll
Raiola.
get that.
That's
So there
the
you go.
legend, man.
And-
I love Dominic Raiola. Yeah, there's a great clip of when Stafford, his rookie year, when he like separated his shoulder and then threw the game-winning touchdown. Dominic Raiola was like all in his face. He was like, "Get up, man, get up." That was a really good clip. Dominic Raiola, Lions legend.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I learned something new because I didn't know who that was. So, but yeah, I saw he played there for like 14 years. And
I think
now
I also
know.
said top 5 center all time. I probably not, but
Doesn't have a Pro Bowl to his name, but still underrated guy.
Yeah,
nonetheless.
underrated.
All right, let me. Yeah, so I
So
got
you're on
my
your
last
last one
one
now?
here.
yeah, just take a look. I didn't put any O-linemen on this one.
Okay, so
This is
I
a fun
see
one.
I see an NC State quarterback. I see a Fresno State. Is that a fullback?
That's a fullback, yeah.
And then a TCU running back. Then we got, is that Kent State?
Yep.
A tight end.
Yep.
And we've got Northern Colorado wide receiver. Oh my God.
Yeah. So now that I'm looking at this, I feel like you might be able to get this pretty quick, but we'll give you bonus points if you can name all the players.
Well, I'm going to give you a hint. I'm not going to be able to name all these players. I'm trying to think. NC State.
I feel like once you get one, though, you might just start rolling.
I think this is the Chargers. Because Phillip Rivers.
Boom.
And then you got Kent State is Antonio Gates, right?
Right.
Because he was undrafted, so that's small.
Keep going.
Northern Colorado. So if this is the Chargers,
I think this guy might have died.
did he? Oh my gosh. I mean,
Hold on.
thanks for the hint. Like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, this
I don't
guy,
know anybody from Northern Colorado. It would maybe it's like one of the Floyd brothers. Oh no, it was Vincent Jackson.
Vincent Jackson.
Oh my God, yeah.
Bingo.
Rest in peace, Vincent Jackson.
Now, these last two, the fullback and the running back, you got it. You're on a roll.
Well, let's see. I'm trying to think of the time period here. Is it running back Ryan Matthews?
No.
No.
Dude, good pull, though.
Yeah, shout
I
out
forgot
Ryan
about Ryan
Matthews.
Matthews.
I don't think he went to TCU. Then the running back. I mean, I honestly don't know where LT went to school. So, but I do not think that is LT, unless it is.
He went to TCU.
He did.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I actually didn't know that. College is not my strong.
Dude, at least I'm
strong
pretty
suit.
sure. I just did that off of base knowledge I already had.
You're probably
I'm
right.
pretty sure he went to TCU.
Now the
he
fullback.
he went to TCU.
The fullback.
You got it.
Is this Lorenzo Neal?
It's Lorenzo Neal.
Lorenzo Neal.
This is the
Go.
2007 San Diego Chargers. They had the most productive offense in the NFL, and then I think the least productive defense or something like that.
It was they had
Or
the number
maybe-
one offense and defense
And the number one defense.
last special teams.
Yeah.
32nd.
That's
and
what
they
it
missed
was.
The playoffs.
And then they lost it. Yeah.
Wow.
Legendary team though. Legendary offense. I think the Phillip Rivers one kind of was a little bit obvious just because who else? And then from there you can just get on a roll.
Yeah.
Good pull with the Kent State.
Thank
Vincent
you,
Jackson.
bro. I'm shocked that I got Lorenzo Neal and not
Yeah.
LaDainian Tomlinson
Yeah.
though, because
That's a
I
fun
didn't know he
team,
went
though.
to Fresno State. I just remember like Chargers fullback. They got Lorenzo Neal. Mike Tolbert was there for like a year. Shout out Mike Tolbert.
Mike
Go.
Tolbert. That's just such an exciting offense.
Yeah.
Just like the West Coast offense run to perfection
Yeah.
with the fullback. That was a prime team.
Hey, well, I think we did pretty good.
We did pretty
I
good.
think I
man.
redeemed myself a little bit for Kurt Warner. You were on a roll. The Lions, I was really interested to see if you would get that. That's the
Lions one was easy.
but-
Once I figured out Dan Orlovsky was at UConn, because who else went to UConn?
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea.
No
I don't even
one.
think they have a program anymore. Like,
You might be right. UCF, that's interesting. Dante Culpepper went to Central Florida.
apparently,
Never would have guessed that.
right. We'll hope you guys enjoyed that. If you do, make sure to show some love, and we will do some more of those in the future. Well, speaking of colleges, right? It's long overdue that we talk about the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL draft because the draft is in less than a month, really, a couple weeks, really. And I just put out an article today about my opinions on the top 5 guys, but I want to talk about it here on the show, and I want to hear your opinion, Gavin. So, do you have a list of 5 guys we can talk about right now?
Yeah, I got a list of 5, but we could just start with one.
Okay, let's start with one. Who's your number 1 wide receiver in this draft?
So my number 1 wide receiver, I'm going to go with Marvin Harrison Jr.
Shocker.
Yeah, you thought I was going to shock the world like I did with the quarterbacks in the top 5. But I'm rocking with Marvin Harrison Jr. He's just too perfect of a prospect. Reminds me a lot of Calvin Johnson.
Interesting.
Probably a little bit better of a route runner, but just the rare blend of like size, speed, strength, hands. He's like 6'4", runs a 4.3. Calvin was 6'5", ran a 4.3. Like just wide receiver 1, like off rip, I think really like a can't miss prospect.
Yeah, I agree. I compared him to Larry Fitzgerald just because, I mean, he has excellent body control, the hands. You see, really, this guy can do everything. The only thing you can knock on him is he doesn't have like the elite speed like Calvin Johnson, but he finds a way to get behind the defense.
Yeah.
I think this guy's undoubtedly the number 1 prospect. Malik Neighbors has been picking up a lot of steam recently, but I think don't overthink this one. Marv is the guy. I have him number 1 as well. Number 2, who do you have at number 2?
Number 2, I have Rome Odunze from Washington. He was one of my favorite players to watch last year. Like, I didn't watch too much college football, to be honest, because I mean we were at Iowa games. We were mostly just watching Iowa, and that just kind of spoils college football for you. But
it really does.
The games I would catch from Washington, like Rome Odunze, just jumps out the page because he just kind of does it all. Like one of the best all-around receivers in this draft. I think he would be the number 1. He would be the number 1 guy if Odunze and if Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. weren't in this draft. But another guy who I think is just going to come out and be a day 1 starter, make changes in NFL offenses. He can attack the ball, super fast. I guess like the way when I watch him, he kind of seemed like a CeeDee Lamb to me.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, he can go up and get a jump ball. But I guess I just didn't realize how fast Rome Odunze was. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm a fan. I'm excited to see how he does in his rookie year. Unless he plays for the Bears, then I'm going to root against him.
Well, that's a damn shame because he's going to play for the Bears.
And
I think I would say he's more quick than fast, like on tape. But I agree.
Yeah.
I think people underrate his speed a little bit. But yeah, I mean, he's a great contested catcher. And after the catch, he's amazing. So he does remind me in CeeDee Lamb in that sense because he's a great contested catcher. He's an incredible route runner. Honestly, runs some of the best routes in the entire class, similar like a Devontae Adams. And I think this guy is going to be an immediate upgrade. So I'm kind of surprised we agree on the top 3 because I'm guessing you have Malik Neighbors at number 3. Yeah. So Malik Neighbors, another guy. I think you can honestly interchange 1, 2, and 3. I would put Marv, but you can make the argument that there are these other 2 guys. But yeah, Malik Neighbors getting a lot of buzz just because he's probably the most explosive player in the draft, the most explosive receiver in the draft. The big play potential is off the charts. I mean, right off the bat, like his release, he's getting open immediately. When I was watching him, I noticed he did a lot of body catching, but for doing all the body catching, he didn't drop a lot. So really sure-handed guy. And yeah, really, this is like a 3-headed monster of a class right here. I think either of these 3 guys, like you said, would be the number 1 in their own class, respectively.
Yeah. Malik Neighbors, like quick note, LSU's all-time leader in receptions and receiving yards.
Wow.
That's crazy. I mean, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Terrace Marshall, Odell Beckham Jr. This guy is their all-time leader in receptions and receiving yards.
I did not know that.
That is
shocking.
crazy to me. Just kind of speaking to the production. But moving on to 4, Who did you have at 4? Because I assume we might have a difference in opinion.
You think so? I have the second LSU guy, Brian Thomas Jr.
Nice.
Do you have him or do you have somebody else?
So Brian Thomas Jr., I guess this might just be because I didn't really watch too much film on him. I don't have him on my top 5 list. Spoiler. Yeah, spoiler, but I have Javon Baker in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
From
Javon
UCF?
Javon Baker, I think, is just like a baby Stefon Diggs. I love the way he gets off the line of scrimmage, his the little shakes he does. His route running is disgusting, and I don't think the speed is I don't think he has quite the speed of like Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors or Xavier Worthy or something like that, but I think he's got the route running and the hands to make up for it. Like I said, the Stefon Diggs comparison. UCF guy, just go watch the tape. You'll see what I mean.
I have not watched a lot of tape on Javon Baker. Now, I would say you'll probably be very impressed with what you see with Brian Thomas, but
yeah. Definitely.
Javon Baker's a guy who I am totally sleeping on because, I made a top 15 on this article that I wrote, and I don't have him in there, so maybe I got to turn on the tape with that. Mm-hmm. I like Brian Thomas Jr. just because this guy is an elite combination of length, height, speed. He's one of the better deep threats in the class. So he's either going to outrun you or he's going to go up and get it.
Yep.
Because the guy's about 6'4", runs a 4.3. He's a stud. And he averaged, I believe, like 1 touchdown every 4 catches last year at LSU.
Yeah.
68 catches, 17 touchdowns. He runs really fluid routes for a big guy, and he tracks the deep ball really well. I personally think he would be the best in the class, if not for, again, the 3-headed monster that we have here. I really like Brian Thomas. I think LSU has a pair of really, really good guys here. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm curious to see who you got at 5, because I have a shocker here.
So at 5, this is kind of another personal bias pick, just because this is a guy that I've been high on since he was in like high school, to be honest. But Xavier Worthy, Texas guy. I'm still big on him. I know I'm reading right now he's 6 foot, 165. That's a little bit scary. But the NFL is changing. He could score a touchdown without ever being touched just by running by people. Broke the 40-yard dash combine record, which is pretty insane. And I don't think he's going to be like a one-hit wonder. We talked a little bit about Jalen Reagor, guys like that come out there and they run pretty fast, but then they don't have hands or anything. They can't run routes. But I think Xavier Worthy's different. I think in today's NFL, you need multiple guys on your offense that could take the top off of defense. And he showed that at Texas, like every touchdown, it felt like every touchdown he had was like a 50-yard catch where he's just beating a safety over the top. So I don't know. I just like him a lot. I've been watching him for a while. I am worried though. He's 165. If he got hit, like you'd knock the wind out of him. Probably anybody that
Devontae Smith's 170. So
True.
Tutu Atwell's had some success. He's probably like 90 pounds. So, I definitely think that's part of the concern. For me, like I think Xavier Worthy has a ton of potential, and I'm not as high on him as most, but I do need to remind myself that the kid is 20. He's going to be 20 up until the day before the draft.
He's younger than us.
Yeah, so there is a lot of potential there. What you look for is the traits, and he's not the biggest, but he's not the shortest. And so if he can work on like some of the drop issues, he is one of the most dangerous. We were just talking about Brian Thomas as a deep threat. Xavier Worthy, hell of a deep threat there. So I like the pick. I will give you my number 5, and then we will go to a break here. Number 5, I have Ladd McConkey from Georgia. Now, we sat here a couple weeks ago, and we heard the name Ladd McConkey. We were laughing. We were like, that's an awesome name.
Yeah.
Who is that? I watched this guy's tape, and I think he might sneakily be the best route runner in the entire class.
Damn.
Because this guy runs some of the cleanest routes you will ever see. His head fakes are insane. Stutter steps. He's got really quick feet. Super fluid. He doesn't have the same like build and exact skill set as Cooper Kupp, but like when he runs a middle route like with his head fake, it looks identical to what Cooper has done with the Rams. And so I think that this is a guy who is going to get open. He did have a few drops, not last year, but the year before. And then at the Combine, he dropped a few. But, I think that's not something that you can take too seriously. Mm-hmm. But because he does look like a very natural catcher of the football, kind of plucks it out of the air, good run after the catch. The thing that I think is the most impressive about him is when he's finding a spot in zone coverage he has incredible instincts. Again, like a Hunter Renfrow or a Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Type of like slot guy, quick feet. He has great instincts for getting open. So I think Ladd McConkey is a guy who didn't put up a ton last year in terms of production, but probably somebody will get him in the second round, maybe the first, and he could be a very dangerous weapon for a team.
Yeah, I'm a fan, dude. He should go directly to the Patriots.
Yeah, he's Patriot bred.
Ladd McConkey.
Yeah.
I do remember talking about him. I guess his first name is Andrew. His real name is Andrew Ladd McConkey.
What a solid lad.
So he's just going by Ladd, which is cool.
Yeah.
Actually, I rock with that.
And then I did write an article, like I said earlier, shameless plug. There's a few other guys that probably are worth a mention here. Adonai Mitchell, the other guy from Texas. Keon Coleman from Florida State. A lot of other guys here who are pretty intriguing. Troy Franklin, maybe way down the board, Brendan Rice, or someone like Malachi Corley from Western Kentucky. If you want more on those receivers, then go check out the Substack article, and we'll link that in the description. So some questions.
Yeah. First question of the afternoon we got is actually, it comes from me.
What?
Yeah.
Can you even do that?
Something's been on my mind, bro, because watching these college sports, it's just so electric with the March Madness tournaments and everything. Why doesn't the NFL have marching bands like the college teams do? Because, bro, when you're watching a college game or a high school game and then there's a first down and then you hear the drumsticks going, yeah, and all the horns and everything, it's electric.
Wow.
You don't think that would be sick in the NFL? Like, you don't think that would be dope?
I think this is the greatest question that's ever been asked on the show.
I'm
honestly.
Googling it right now. Apparently the Ravens have a marching band, but like, I don't know. They need their own section in the stands, and there needs to be like 150 of them.
Yeah.
And like, we need flutes, we need all the horns, we need drums, we need everything. And they got to be playing like a fight song, because that's what makes college sports so electric, is just that sound. Like, you know when you go to a high school game on a Friday night and you hear the band playing, just a different feeling. And I think the NFL needs that. I think the NFL has strayed away from that in recent years. There's a little bit of a disconnect there between like the fans and the team, you know? And we need that. We need that marching band.
Yeah, man. I mean, as a Bears fan, we got the fight song every time we score. Bear down, Chicago Bears.
Yeah, but is that playing out of a speaker?
They just run at the speaker. I want to see a live rendition.
We need it live, dude.
Yeah.
Imagine a Bears marching band and with the Bucket Boys.
Yeah.
You know how electric that would be?
Wow,
Like
that's
a halftime
great point.
show too. I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel
we
like
need that.
Goodell should like think about it at least.
Roger, you heard it here first, man. Come on. In a totally unrelated note, Daniel is asking, does Bo Nix go in the top 15?
No.
What do you think? No?
He doesn't. Nah.
I think there is one team that would take Bo Nix in the top 15.
Who's that?
Denver Broncos. I think if the Denver Broncos do not take Bo Nix, then nobody will take him in the first round.
I actually like that a lot. I could see that.
My reasoning for that is because Denver wants to trade up for a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, who's more desperate? Is it Sean Payton or is it Kevin O'Connell? You know, maybe Sean Payton would be more desperate on paper. Let's just say the organization who's more desperate.
Yeah.
I would say the Vikings probably need one more.
Especially for a cheap quarterback.
Yeah, and they do pick before Denver. So even if Denver wanted to trade up, the Vikings could probably just one-up them. I'm sure whatever teams are talking about trading down, they're going to talk with both of those guys. Be like, hey, we just got this offer from Denver. Hey, Minnesota, you want to match that?
Yeah.
So I think when it's all said and done, there will be 4 quarterbacks taken before Denver gets to pick. And then you have Michael Penix and Bo Nix. And Russell Wilson, the mobile quarterback, didn't really work out with Sean Payton. Sean Payton has a very particular system that he likes. There's a reason why Jared Stidham is on a freaking NFL roster and that he's supposed to start for the Broncos. I don't think he's going to see the light of day. I think that they're going to take a guy, whether that's in the first or the second. So I can totally see the Broncos passing on a quarterback. But I think if they do take a QB at 12 or whenever they pick, it would be Bo Nix.
That's really interesting if Bo Nix gets drafted in the first round, period. That would be that would just be shocking to so many people.
I guess
the Bo Nix haters out there too.
Right. It sounds like you're a Bo Nix hater. I love Bo Nix.
No, I'm a fan. That would be wild. That'd be unrealistic.
Yeah, I agree to an extent.
Mitch asks, could the Lions make a move for Kool-Aid McKinstry? Brad and Dan Campbell love Bama boys. This is true. They do love Bama boys. You got J-Mo, you got Brian Branch, Jahmyr Gibbs. But I don't know, looking at the corners, I feel like Kool-Aid McKinstry, I think we might have talked about this the other day. He seems like the only dude that really has like bust potential, in my opinion. I I don't know. There's just way better corners in this draft. I think like Quinion Mitchell, Ennis Rakestraw Jr., Nate Wiggins, the Clemson kid.
Those guys are going to be gone by the time you guys pick. Nate Wiggins might be there.
I think Terry and Arnold could maybe be there. That's another Bama guy. Mm-hmm. I don't know. If we end up with Kool-Aid McKinstry, I'm totally fine with it. And I know he'll adapt well to the culture and everything, and he'll work hard. He'll be effective for us, but I don't know. I think there's other corners out there that I would rather have.
Your boy Xavier Worthy tore apart Kool-Aid McKinstry when they played together. So that's the one concern with Kool-Aid is when it comes to keeping up with speed, he's not the most speedy guy. So
yeah.
But he has good technique. He has a lot of potential. I think that's a good range for when he would go in the draft. Would be late round there, so it's possible. Henry HVP is asking, how will Josh Jacobs fare on the Packers? I think this is really interesting because I have no idea. Running backs sometimes just fall off a cliff on their second team when they're around age 27.
Yeah.
But Josh Jacobs is so talented, and the Packers O-line is pretty good. So, unfortunately, I think he'll do pretty well. I think he should be an 1,000-yard guy. But they also have A.J. Dillon, who they re-signed, and those two are pretty similar players.
Did they re-sign A.J. Dillon?
They did, yeah. So I think they're going to try and split some carries there.
Yeah, I think Josh Jacobs will be just fine. I think the Packers will. Roll. They're probably going to be like a top 12, top 10 offense this year.
I hope something goes terribly wrong, but yeah, who knows?
Oh, like what?
Not that I want to wish injury on people. You know what? Let's just move on. Who knows? Last question for today. Nick is asking, which QB should the Patriots take, assuming the Bears take Caleb? Well, I have about 30 seconds to explain this. So let me just say, I think that there's a real chance that the Patriots, well, they don't have a choice who they're taking at number 2. I think Jaden Daniels might be the guy at number 2, though. If Drake May is there, I say the Patriots take him. I do not think they take JJ unless they trade down. The Giants move up to take a quarterback. Daniel Jones goes to the Patriots. That could be really interesting. And I'm not going to go in depth any more on that. You'll just have to think and wonder about that.
There's a theory. Sleep on it.
Yeah. So, we are out of time for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Thanks a lot for the support. We will see you.
Peace.
Take it easy.